I'm Corbett Wall with DVAuction, here with your feeder flash for Wednesday, June the 26th, brought to you in part by Gelbvieh. Gelbvieh Balancer cattle make the grade. Capitalize on crossbreeding with Gelbvieh and Balancer bulls. Raise replacement females with added fertility, increased longevity, and greater productivity. Gelbvieh and Balancer influence females wean more pounds of calf per cows exposed. For more information, go to gelbvieh.org. Is $2 imminent? I honestly don't know. I think we may touch $2 in the Northern Plains here in the next few weeks. Could be this week. I still have my doubts on whether the Southern Plains will reach the $2 level on fed cattle direct sales. But we're sure seeing it other places where they have competitive bidding. At Stockman's Livestock Market in Yankton, South Dakota, they sold some non-implanted cattle up to $206, and it wasn't 2 or 3 head. It was over 100 head in one draft that sold $206. So you would think that we got to get there, but with the very little competition and not a competitive nature in your direct sales, I don't know. I mean, we're still leaving ourselves open to any kind of black swan that comes along and try to kill the market. Bird flu didn't have a lot of success with killing the market, so there's bound to be some other type of thing come along here before long. It's just $2 is a big point. And should we? Yeah, absolutely, we should. We should go way over $2. But I seriously am skeptical, and I got to see it to believe it, that the Southern Plains at least will reach $2 a pound fat cattle on a direct basis, and we should see the results of that in the next few months at least anyway. Cash feeders launched in your sale barns on Tuesday. I mean, we saw the highest prices we've ever seen. Of course, pretty much every day we see some type of a record, at least regionally or locally reached, and we indeed saw that on Tuesday. And you know, guys just want cattle. They want ownership of cattle. They want to feed cattle. Feed is plentiful and fairly cheap. They want the cattle. They want to feed them. They think there's a lot of optimism out there, or at least they're optimistic about it. But we'll just have to wait and see whether those cattle work. They don't necessarily pencil very well, but everybody's always betting on the come. So we'll see how that works out. On Tuesday, the Magoo administration come out and Secretary Vilsack, more specifically, come out, and USDA promises to be more fully enforcing the P&S rules and regulations against unfair trade policies. And who doesn't like that? Apparently NCBA doesn't like it. They came out shortly after with a press release that says they're totally against that. They're totally against the government enforcing P&S rules and regulations against unfair trade policies. Probably because NCBA is worried that it's going to affect their alternative marketing agreements, or the AMAs, that they are totally sold out for, and which is the pathway to the cattle going by the way of the hogs and the chickens. But you know, that's the path that they've chosen, and that's what they want to do, but they're afraid that it's going to impose on their AMAs. But talk about some big sales that are coming up here. I'm going to be going this weekend to Copan, Oklahoma, up there by Pawhuska, guys, for the Coffeyville Stockyards Blue Stem Special. We're going to have 20,000 head of grass cattle on video with DVAuction. If you're not able to make it to the Crossbell Ranch there, if you can make it, they invite you to come out. They're going to have a cash bar. They're going to have steak sandwiches there. It's going to be a family-friendly event, and it's a beautiful place to have it. If you haven't ever been there, you sure ought to make plans to go. But be there on Saturday. And then later on in the weekend and going into early next week, which is a holiday week, a lot of you guys have off. If you've got the ability, you need to come to the Independent Cattlemen's Association of Texas Convention. That is a really good time, especially if you're in to the cattle business and you're interested in the issues that affect it. We're going to be talking about some of the issues that some of the trade associations will not talk about. We're going to have a really good time. It's in a good place in San Marcos, Texas. There's all kinds of things to do down there. They're going to have Gary P. Nunn entertaining there on the final night there. But it is a good time. And if you will call and register on the phone and mention Feeder Flash, you will get a discount there. But if you're interested in going to something like that, even if you're not in the general area, it's easy enough to get into San Antonio and go over to San Marcos, Texas for the Independent Cattlemen's Association of Texas convention. You'll enjoy it, I promise you. Talk about your board for Tuesday. June live cattle futures were up 57 cents at 189.47. Okay, we've got just a few days left in the month. Your spot live cattle futures for June closed at 189.47, and your latest available 5-area feeding region steer weighted average on a live basis was almost 195, and it's about $5 under, or $5.50 actually under that. So you got that basis there, and if they don't meet, if they don't converge whenever they're mature, what good are they? That's what I'm saying. How about August live cattle futures down 40 cents at 184.42? Your back months were mixed from down 17 cents to up 55. Feeder cattle for August up 15 cents at 259.05. Still trading out in front at a premium to what our cash index levels are at. September was down a nickel at 260.07. And your back months were down a nickel to down 85 cents. Not a bunch of loss there, but still a little bit on the weak side. Talk about your Chicago Board of Trade grain futures. July corn was up 3 1/4 cents at 428 3/4. Beans were up 9 1/2 at 1172 3/4. Kansas City hard red winter wheat up 4 1/4 cents at 580 1/4. Fat cattle trade. Didn't hardly see any kind of direct trade. Of course, it's early in the week, of course, but we did see just under 100 head sell in Iowa at 196 live. We saw some trade, direct trade in Iowa on Monday, and it was live sales 195, dress trade 314. But, you know, we're a long way from establishing a market, and Nebraska and Kansas and Texas have not sold a hoof. We don't know what happens in Colorado. Because of confidentiality rules, we can't tell what's happening there. But market maker right there, Stockman's Livestock Market in Yankton, South Dakota. Greg Ryken runs a hell of a sale there. They are now also offering DVAuction broadcasting for viewing and bidding right there. They had a good fat cattle auction on Tuesday. 1,300 head in overnight. 1,800 head for the fat cattle auction there. And the conventional fat cattle sold 192 to 195. That's 50 cents to $6 higher on your price spread there. Program cattle, non-implanted and drug-free. Of course, I tipped you off a little bit early in the report, but those program cattle sell from 195.5 to 206. And like I said, it was big streams that were hitting the top market, 206, including this 106 head steers that bring 206 there, and they were non-implanted, but there's a lot of non-implanted cattle out there. But the trend on that price spread was $3.5 to $6.5 higher. Gary Marks gives us this information, and we appreciate it so much. He also told me about a couple of Belgian Blue Cross bulls that they had at the slaughter cattle auction there in Yankton, South Dakota on Tuesday. Those big Belgian Blue Cross bulls, and if you don't know about Belgian Blues, they are double muscled. They bring $2.20 a pound. How about your box beef cutout values? They were higher, but not a lot higher on Tuesday. Choice cuts are up 75 cents at $323.39. Selects are up 19 cents at $305.26. Your slaughters falling behind as it has continuously, but I continue to tell you that the most of the percentage of falling behind is on the cows and bulls because the availability is so tight on those. But up through Tuesday, first 2 days of the week, the estimated slaughter on cattle is 236,000. That's 3,000 less than the same point last week and 17,000 less than the same point a year ago. If you like this report and you're not finding it easy enough or often enough, just take your phone out and text the word flash to 209 Corbett or 209-267-2488, and it's free other than what your texting costs, which most people don't get a charge for that. But they will text you the link to this feeder flash report every single day. You'll have it right there on your text. You can just open that up, hit it, and watch this report. Let's talk about your feeder cattle market, your real-time index on DVAuction. Late in the day on Tuesday, sitting at 256.51. That was up $1.08. Your latest CME cash feeder cattle index was 257.90. Don't miss Creston Livestock Auction in Creston, Iowa today. They've got a good run there, at least 1,500 feeder cattle there. And it will be the first time ever that they have broadcast on DVAuction.com. Get on to DVAuction.com and select Creston. You can view and bid that sale if you will get approved there for the first time ever. Let's talk about your big feeder cattle auctions on Tuesday. Ozarks Regional Stockyard in West Plains, Missouri had 1,900 head through the ring, another nearly 600 head through their weekly in-house video sale that they do with help from DVAuction. Market was a little tough there. I mean, it's hot. When it's hot in south central Missouri around West Plains, at this time of year, it is hot and sultry and just oppressive. But the calves were steady to $5 lower, and feeders sold steady to weak on a day when it was really hot and humid there in West Plains, Missouri. Talk about your NationalBeefWire stick-out sale of the day. It was Unionville Livestock Market in Unionville, Missouri. They just had an amazing sale there, and I want to say it was because they had DVAuction broadcasting that sale for the first time ever, but it probably had more to do with it being the barbecue special and having some of their top consigners in there. And of course the demand is good for all classes of cattle, especially those really top feeders that they had in there. But around 2,500 in Unionville on Tuesday. Check out this automated auction report from Cattle Market Central, and you see your best tested weights. 347 head of 5-weight steers, average 550 at 328.20. There were 346 head of 6-weight steers. They averaged 657 at 312.79. And 339 head of 8-weight steers in Unionville, Missouri, extreme north central Missouri. They weighed 866 on the average and bring 267.92. How about the heifers? 297 head of 5-weight heifers, average 545 at 304.79. And 222 6-weight heifers, average just 628 pounds at 279.73. Give you several individual quotes, and they're all very impressive, that happened on Tuesday. And I told you, you know, the feeder market just come unglued on Tuesday in sale barns all over the country. But how about Beaver County Stockyards in Beaver, Oklahoma? I told you what they were going to have on our last visit, and I included those 3 loads of grazing yearling steers there, come out of southern part of the Texas Panhandle, so long haul on them, really good condition on those cattle. Those 3 loads weighed 611 and averaged 316.16 for the 3 loads there. That's very impressive, guys. Beaver County Stockyards, Beaver, Oklahoma. How about F&T Livestock Market in Palmyra, Missouri? Also a DVAuction broadcaster. 62 steers weighed 750 at 276.75. Let's go out east. How about Bluegrass Stockyards in Lexington, Kentucky? All your Bluegrass locations broadcast on DVAuction, and we're proud to have Bluegrass with us. But in Lexington, at the flagship location there, they sold 64 steers, weighed 859 at 260 1/4, standing in the ring in Lexington, Kentucky. How about Kingsville Livestock Auction? They've also added DVAuction broadcasting recently on some feeder heifers. 73 head feeder heifers, Kingsville Livestock Auction, Kingsville, Missouri, averaged 717 at $278.50. Wow. But the most impressive quote that I saw anywhere on Tuesday in your Macrocin, no BS, top quote for the day, indeed come out of Unionville Livestock Market. It was the Rockin' R or the Smokin' R consignment there. And for the barbecue special, they brought 5 loads of backgrounded steers in. The 5 loads averaged 868 pounds with a weighted average price of $269.20. The top load weighed 861 and bring $271.50. And that's your feeder flash for Wednesday.